Good evening, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. How are we all? Hope you're doing all right. Hope we're surviving. Hope we're getting on. All ready for another 3 weeks of this nonsense. So, here we are again. Saturday night, quiz night. Good to see a few people already on. Link for the picture round is in the chat and also on the description. So I'll give you a chance to get that. And hello, hello, hello. People coming through and saying hello. Cool, that's great. We'll just give it a few minutes, let everyone come on, get the picture round up. I know you have some, if you follow the link, it navigates you away. So I appreciate that. It can take a few minutes. If you've got another device to put it on, that's great. And then we'll get going with today's quiz. Hope everyone's well and surviving the joys of lockdown. Oh, there's loads of people who are on already there. Everyone's ready to go. Cool. Hello to Southend. And everyone else. Hello, hello, hello. Cool. I'm very good, thank you, Darren. I'm getting along, not bad. It's been an up and down week, but we're surviving. We're still here. We're still going on. You still get the joys of my ugly mug every Saturday evening, asking you stupid questions. So, what more could you want? Okay. So I hope you can. You've got the picture round link. Okay. This week it's movie pictures or posters. So there's should be 20 of those for you to peruse over the next hour or so, however long this nonsense takes, and see whether you can work out some of them. They are quite tricky. A few of them, I will admit. I'm sorry, but don't want it too easy, do you? Yeah, the quality's a lot better. I've gone back. I've gone old school. I'm sorry. I tried to be a bit clever and put up the questions so people could read them as well as listen to my horrible voice, which I know is not a pleasure for anyone. I think I know how to do it now, and just unfortunately, I haven't got the hardware that's story of my life that to achieve it currently. Maybe one day I might be able to get out and get myself a new laptop, or if anyone wants to donate a wonderful shiny new piece of equipment to the cause, then feel free. But yeah, that's the stumbling block so far. It's purely a case of not having the technology in place to do it. But never know, I might figure it out eventually. After all, I've got little else to do with my time, so who knows. So, but even still, I hope you're managing to get to the picture round link. I'll keep posting it regularly, just in case it doesn't work through the description. And hopefully everyone's getting the link, and we'll get a few people. We'll give it about another sort of 3 or 4 minutes just to let people come online and see and start. And then while we're waiting, I'll go through. We've got 6 rounds as normal. And our rounds are guess the book, food, capital cities, a general knowledge round, sport, and then the final round, which again, if anyone was watching last week's was dedicated to all the wonderful NHS and health staff that are working incredibly hard at the moment. So this week's quiz is also the last round is dedicated to another set of wonderful key workers that are doing amazing things. And so you'll find out about that one at the end. Okay, cool. So we'll give it a couple of more minutes. As I say, I don't think we've got anyone new to this, but just in case, Obviously, it's just for fun. You're more than welcome to Google it if you really want to, but where's the fun in that? As far as marketing is concerned, I'll give you basically the answer, but if you want to adapt what you've come up with to suit if you think you kind of got it, then that's up to you. You're marking it but I'll give you the actual answer if you're competing against friends. I know some people like to set up separate little groups, Zoom groups or house party groups, and compete. So if that's the case, I'll give you the answer. Obviously, my answer's right, whether you like it or not. Other than that, try not to put any answers in the comments. That's just so that it stops anyone's sort of quiz getting ruined if they happen to read the answer in the comment. And try to be nice in the comment, really. But I don't think I need to worry about anything like that. I think everyone's pretty much knows everything here, and I think we're all pretty much we know each other by now. So cool. Okay. Hopefully, I think we're nearly ready to go. We'll give it. If you've just put ready. Oh, a few people have already put ready, I guess. So, I don't know. Just give everyone one more chance to go to the link and make sure they've got that, and then we can make a start. Just check. I've got no messages saying it's not working for anyone. Oh yeah, I've got a message. Cheers to Janie, who's I assume is watching. Cool. Oh, and there's somebody. Yeah. Torome needs to pour a beer. That's fine. You take your time to pour a beer. That's far more important than any of this nonsense. So we'll make sure everyone's got a drink. I have this week certainly, and we'll be on our way. Yeah, if at any time it does you do have a problem with the stream or anything else, you can always pause the stream back up and start from the beginning again. It does, even though we're running live, you can go back. So if that helps, if ever there's a breakdown, that should be okay. Okay, right. Well, cheers is coming through, so I'm assuming cheers means that we're ready to rock and roll. So hopefully you've got pen and paper handy. You've got everything you need. We're ready to go, and the first round is guess the book. So I'm going to give you a little description of my own of a book, and you tell me the title. Okay, so question 1. A ship's captain goes mad trying to catch a giant swimming mammal. So a ship's captain goes mad trying to catch a giant swimming mammal. What is that book I am very poorly describing? And question 2. 2 teenagers from different worlds fall in love, but it doesn't end well. 2 teenagers from different worlds fall in love, but it doesn't end well. What's the book? I think it's a fairly easy round, this first round, just to warm everyone up. And question 3. A boy finds out a magical secret on his 11th birthday and everything changes. That was question 3. A boy finds out a magical secret on his 11th birthday and everything changes. Okay, question 4. A mean old man meets some ghostly friends and changes his ways. A mean old man meets some ghostly friends and changes his ways. And question 5. An innocent young woman meets the man of her dreams, but it turns out he has many dark colours in his personality. That's question 5 again. An innocent young woman meets the man of her dreams, but it turns out he has many dark colours to his personality. And question 6. A terrifying circus performer scares all the children. Okay, question 6 again. In what book would you find a terrifying circus performer that scares all the children? And 7, question 7. Some siblings ruin an old man's furniture when they find some magical creatures in the back of it. That was question 7 again. Some siblings ruin an old man's furniture when they find some magical creatures in the back of it. And question 8. A tiny person goes on a big quest for a bit of jewellery. So that's question 8 again. A tiny person goes on a big quest for a piece of jewellery. And question 9. A boy becomes a pharmacist in order to help his nan. So that's question 9. A boy becomes a pharmacist in order to help his nan. I've just seen a request for question 8. I'll go back and do that after the last question, if that's all right. And then we'll go through. That was question 9. A boy becomes a pharmacist in order to help out his nan. And finally, question 10. An Eastern European lord will never be able to turn vegan. That was number 10 again. An Eastern European lord will never be able to turn vegan. Okay, so question 8, I will repeat it just this once as it's you, Kaz. A tiny person goes on a big quest for a bit of jewellery. Hopefully, otherwise everyone got those. If not, I'm not repeating them again. So you'll have to just move the little bar at the bottom back, and then listen to it again. You'll have to catch up. But that's the end of the Guess the Book round. Give you a minute to think about your answers, see if you want to argue about anything. I think they were Fairly easy. Well, they're easy for me. I know the answers. And then we'll go on to round 2, which is food. So just have a moment. So this week's food round is all about alternative names for food that perhaps we know, or have a different name from the ones we normally hear. Okay. We'll have a go at the food round then. Question 1. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti is obviously the well-known phrase. We had that one in last week's quiz if you were there as well. But what are fava beans better known as in the UK? So, I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti, but what do we better know fava beans as in the UK? And question 2. Americans call the vegetable eggplant, but what do we know it here? Nice and easy, I think. So the Americans call it an eggplant, but what do we call it here in the UK? And question 3. So in the UK, we know it as sweet corn, but what cereal grain is it a variety of? That's question 3. In the UK, we call it sweet corn, but what cereal grain is it a variety of? And question 4. The other one. The USA, they call it a zucchini, but what do we call it? So the Americans call it a zucchini, but what do we call it? And question 5. So we all know a tin of baked beans, but what type of beans are they? What is the name of baked beans? What beans would you find in a can of baked beans? It's a very bean heavy round, this one, I realised after I did it. But, you know, who doesn't love beans, eh? And question 6. Snow peas are an edible pod pea which is eaten whole. Which French-derived word is used as the name generally in the UK? That was question 6 again. Snow peas are an edible pod pea which are eaten whole. Which French-derived word is used as their name generally in the UK? And question 7 is known as bindi in Hindi, okra in American, but what is it known as in most English-speaking countries? So it's known as bindi in the Hindi language. Okra is normally its name in the American English, but most other English-speaking countries, what do they call it? Got people invading now. All in the hope of getting a drink, I think. I'll tell you what. Oh, Brucey never had to put up with this sort of nonsense when he was doing things. Tell you, shocking. God rest his soul. Anyway, where were we? Question 8. Known as ground nuts, goober, and monkey nuts, what do we more commonly know them as? So ground nuts, goober, or monkey nuts, but what are they more commonly known as? And question 9 in the food round. If I was to order jelly and ice cream in the USA, what would I get with my ice cream? That's question 9 again. If I was to order jelly and ice cream in the USA, what would I probably get with my ice cream? And question 10. What are you eating if you're having angels on horseback? Question 10 again. What are you eating if you are having angels on horseback? And that's the end of the food round. So give you a minute, sort yourselves out with those, think of any last answers you want, and then we'll go through the answers to round 1. The Guess the Book. Okay, cool. So the answers to round 1, Guess the Book. A ship's captain goes mad trying to catch a giant swimming mammal. It was, of course, Moby Dick. And question 2. 2 teenagers from different worlds fall in love, but it doesn't end well. Romeo and Juliet. Question 3. A boy finds out a magical secret on his 11th birthday and everything changes. Of course, Harry Potter. Question 4. A mean old man meets some ghostly friends and changes his ways. Is A Christmas Carol. Number 5. One probably not for the kids, hopefully, if there's any watching. An innocent young woman meets the man of her dreams, but it turns out he has many dark colours to his personalities. 50 Shades of Grey. Obviously, I've never read it, but apparently it's all right. A terrifying circus performer scares all the children. That was It. That was number 6. Number 7. Some siblings ruin an old man's piece of furniture when they find some magical creatures in the back. Is, of course, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Question 8. A tiny person goes on a big quest for a piece of jewellery. That'd be Lord of the Rings. Number 9. A boy becomes a pharmacist in order to help out his nan with George's Marvellous Medicine. And number 10. An Eastern European lord will never be able to turn vegan. Is, of course, Dracula. So hopefully there's not too many problems with that. And give you a minute, and then we'll go on to round 3, which is capital cities. So I'm sure the Brewster household are cheering right now, if they're on still, because they normally love their capital cities. So I'm going to give you a country for each one of these, and I would like you to tell me the capital city. Okay. Question 1. The capital city of New Zealand, please. That's question 1. The capital city of New Zealand. And question 2. The capital city of Switzerland, please. Switzerland. The capital city of Switzerland is question 2. And question 3 is Turkey. The capital city of Turkey is? And question 4, Australia. What is the capital city of Australia? And on to question 5, Canada. What is the capital city of Canada? And question 6, the capital city of Brazil. It's very speedy round, this one. There's not much to read. I like it. I should do more like this, I think. So that was question 6 again. What is the capital city of Brazil? And question 7, the capital city of Belarus. What is the capital city of Belarus? That's question 7. And question 8, Ethiopia. What is the capital city of Ethiopia? And question 9, Vietnam. What would be the capital city of Vietnam? And finally, question 10, Indonesia. What is the capital city of Indonesia? That was a very speedy round, wasn't it? So I'll give you a minute to quickly go on Google Maps and look some of those up if you're not sure. And then we'll go and do the food answers. And then we'll do the answers to the capital cities. Then we'll have a couple of minutes break because my glass is nearly empty and that's a big concern to me. And then we'll carry on with the second half. Don't forget the picture round link. I'll put it back in the chat again. Have a look at the picture round. Although I don't think that is the link for the picture round actually. Sorry, that's another link. Let me try that again. That looks better. Ignore that first link. I don't know what that is that's been put on there, but yeah, that second link. Yeah, I don't know why it copied the YouTube link in there, but there we go. So it's the Google Docs link, and it's also underneath. I know, but just in case anyone's not, it's there. Have a look at that for while you've got a minute. So we'll go back and do the food answers. Okay, so the classic Silence of the Lambs quote is fava beans. What do we normally call them? They're most commonly known as broad beans in the UK. So fava beans are normally known as broad beans in the UK. And the answer to number 2, obviously eggplant, is aubergine. Question 3, we know sweet corn, but the grain variety is maize. Question 4, zucchini is better known here as courgette, of course. Question 5, a good old tin of baked beans would be, the actual bean name is haricot. Some people don't know them as navy beans, but apparently when I looked them up, but haricot is the name I've always known. So haricot or navy beans are fine by me. Question 6, the snow pea, the edible pea pod, the French-derived name, of course, is mange tout, Rodney. Mange tout. And question 7, bindi or okra is better known as ladies' fingers. Question 8, groundnuts, scuba nuts or monkey nuts are better known, of course, as peanuts. And question 9, if I ordered jelly and ice cream in the USA, I would possibly get a jam. The old jelly and peanut butter sandwiches, jam and peanut butter in America. And question 10, if you are eating angels on horseback, you are eating oysters wrapped in bacon. Now, personally, if I was marking it, I would say you'd have to have oysters and bacon. You'd have to have the two, but that's up to you when you mark it. But there you go. So we'll do the capital cities in just a sec, and then we'll have a quick break, because as you can see, my glass is very nearly empty. And then we'll carry on with this nonsense. Okay. Capital cities. Question 1. New Zealand, the capital city is Wellington. Not Auckland, as a lot of people may think. Question 2. Switzerland is not Zurich, it's Bern. Bern is the capital city of Switzerland. And question 3. Turkey, the capital city of Turkey is Ankara, not Istanbul. All these countries with a big city that aren't their capital. And the theme continues. Australia, capital city of Australia is Canberra. Question 5. The capital city of Canada is Ottawa. And question 6. The capital city of Brazil is Brasilia. Question 7. The capital city of Belarus is Minsk. Sorry. And question 8. Ethiopia's capital is Addis Ababa. Question 9. The capital of Vietnam is Hanoi. And finally, question 10. The capital of Indonesia is Jakarta. Okay, hopefully everyone's doing all right. They're getting all those questions okay. The stream is all right. They can hear me. They can pour you if you can. And you can see me. Even more pour you. And yeah, quick break. Top up your glasses. I'd love to put some fancy thing on here while I went away, but I haven't a clue how to do that. So you're just going to have to stare at the glass cabinet behind me for a minute while I go and fill my drink. Have fun. Good. See you in a second. Yeah, I pulled it all out. I tried to dig it out.
That's why I was looking at having the driveway done. Yeah, that's why I was looking at having the driveway done. Because if you're going to dig it all up, it might as well take it down.
Okay, cool. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Yeah, like you've been anywhere. Good. So I hope everything's cool. I haven't had any messages to say that nothing's working. In fact, I've had a couple of messages to say it's a lot better this week. So I'm going back to the old school is obviously improving it. I'm sorry, however, I can't show you the questions. Blame YouTube for that. They won't let you unless you use a separate bit of software, which I'm afraid my laptop won't run. But never mind. Okay. So we've got the next round, which is general knowledge. So assuming you're all ready to go, and you have your pen and papers at hand, and more important, you have a drink at hand, we will go on with general knowledge. No one's saying they're not ready, so I'm going to go with you being ready. Okay. Question 1 in the general knowledge round is, which G precedes pre, slam, and theft? Everyone's saying they're ready now. I've already started, so. But which G precedes pre, slam, and theft? And question 2. What is the main difference in the reason for awarding a George Cross and a Victoria Cross? So what is the main difference in the reason for awarding a George Cross and a Victoria Cross? That was question 2. And question 3. Prospero is the main protagonist in which Shakespeare play? Prospero is the main protagonist in which Shakespeare play? And question 4. In the phonetic alphabet, what word is used to denote the letter K? Question 4. In the phonetic alphabet, what word is used to denote the letter K? And question 5. The medical condition CHD stands for coronary heart what? So question 5, what does the D in coronary heart stand for? CHD, coronary heart what does the D stand for? Try and spit that question out again better sometime. And question 6, I think, because I didn't write the numbers next to these. That's stupid, wasn't it? What type of clothing is a Glengarry? So question 6, what type of clothing is a Glengarry? And question 7. Eric Carle wrote a series of children's books about what insect? So that's Eric Carle, C-A-R-L-E, just in case I haven't quite pronounced it correctly or you've not quite heard me. So Eric Carle wrote a series of children's books about what insect? And question 7. So we all know an SD card, but what does SD stand for? This is not a strip show before you get excited, by the way, or turn off, not to the point. It's just I've got a light just there to try and make it a bit better picture for you, and it's getting quite warm now. So, question 7 again. What does SD stand for in an SD card? And question, that was, sorry, yeah, you're right, Tony, it was question 8. I told you I didn't write the numbers next to these ones and it's put me completely out of sync. That was question 8, I'm sorry. The SD card, what does the SD stand for in an SD card is question 8. Question 9. Eamar Quinn, that's E-I-M-E-A-R, Emir Quinn, won the 1996 Eurovision Song Contest, representing which country? So that's Amir Quinn, won the 1996 Eurovision Song Contest, representing which country? And the last one in the general knowledge round. Which British monarch was the final ruler in the House of Tudor? Which British monarch was the final ruler in the House of Tudor? That's the end of general knowledge. Give you a minute before we go on to the sports round. Right, hopefully you're ready, and we'll go for sport. No theme to this one, just a general round of sports questions this week. Tony, don't moan about no sport. The first one's a rugby question. You like rugby, you weirdo. Which English rugby union club side plays at Welford Road? So that's question 1 in the sports round. Which English rugby union club side plays at Welford Road? And question 2. The Queen Anne Stakes is traditionally the first race on the opening of which horse racing meet? Yes, Darren, he is. Doesn't make any sense, rugby, does it? What kind of sport where you can only pass backwards? Crazy. Sorry, anyway, question 2 again. The Queen Anne Stakes is traditionally the first race on the opening of which horse racing meet? And question 3. How many players are on the field at any one time for one baseball team? That's question 3. How many players are on the field for one team at any one time in a baseball team? Well, we're going to have a family feud on the chat by the looks of it now. All over the sake of rugby. Ball's not even the right shape either. Crazy. Anyway, question 4. Which country has won the most Davis Cups since the year 2000, including the year 2000? So, which country has won the most Davis Cups since the year 2000? And question 5. Which city hosted the Olympic Summer Games in 2004? So, question 5. Which city hosted the Olympic Summer Games in 2004? Oh, that last comment on the chat, I suggest you see a GP as soon as this is all over, if that's the case. And question number 6. I really shouldn't read that chat, should I? It's going to put me right off. Question 6. In which sport might you win the claret jug? Question 6 again. In which sport might you win the claret jug? And question 7. Which motor racing circuit hosted 12 British Grand Prix between 1964 and 1986? That's question 7 again. Which motor racing circuit hosted 12 British Grand Prix between 1964 and 1986? And question 8. What team did Jose Mourinho manage when he won his first Champions League final? Question 8. What team did Jose Mourinho manage when he won his first Champions League final? If Tony, that's your answer to question 8, I'd say no, they got lucky, but there you go. That's just my opinion. And question 9. In darts, Which score is known as bed and breakfast? So in darts, which score is known as bed and breakfast? And question 10. What is the Duckworth-Lewis-Stern method used for? Question 10. What is the Duckworth-Lewis-Stern method used for? And I think there's a few things that need to be in that answer to make it correct if you're marking. Not just the sport that it's used in, but why it's used in that sport. If you want to get your mark as far as I'm concerned, but obviously you're marking it, so it's up to you. So, what is the Duckworth-Lewis-Stern method used for? Cool, that's the end of the sports round. Give you a minute, and then we will go back and do the answers for general knowledge. Okay, hopefully you're all ready. Hopefully you're doing all right with the picture round. And we will do the general knowledge answers. So, which G precedes pre-slam and theft? That was, of course, Grand. So, Grand Prix, Grand Slam, and Grand Theft. Question 2. What is the main difference in the reasons for awarding a George Cross and a Victoria Cross? So, again, if it was me marking, this is what you would need, but it's up to you. The Victoria Cross is awarded for valour or bravery in the face of combat, whereas the George Cross is awarded for the same, but not in combat. So in times of peace or something, or in other situations. So the Victoria Cross is in times of combat, and the George Cross is in times of peace. Prospero is the main protagonist in The Tempest. In the phonetic alphabet, the word used to denote the letter K is kilo. And the number 5, the medical condition CHD stands for coronary heart disease. There was a bit of a toss between disease and disorder. Sorry, I've just seen number 3. Is that for the sports round? I'm assuming it is. If it is, the number of players in a baseball team on the field at one time was question 3 in the sports round. If it was number 3 for the answers to the general knowledge, that was The Tempest. But I'm sorry, there's a bit of a delay between when I say it and when I get the chat through. I'm sorry. So, okay, so yes, CHD stands for coronary heart disease. What type of clothing is Glengarry, or is a Glengarry? It's a hat or a bonnet. And Eric Carle wrote a series of children's books about which insect? It was the caterpillar. He wrote the Very Hungry Caterpillar books. An SD card. The SD stands for Secure Digital. And Amir Quinn won the Eurovision Song Contest in 1996 for the Republic of Ireland. And finally, in the general knowledge round, the final British monarch of the Tudor house was, of course, Elizabeth I. I'm not sure what you mean by that in the comments there. About, is that 5 in sport? Do you mean question 5 you'd like again? I will do question 5 again just in case. That's what you meant. It's which city hosted the Olympic Summer Games in 2004? Okay. Yeah, so question 5, that was the Olympic Summer Games in 2004. So our final, oh, hold on, I don't know about this. This is a slippery slope. I knew I should have ignored the comments list, because as soon as we start asking for repeats, we're here all night and it gets really confusing, especially for anyone who watches this video later on. All right, but question 9 in the sport was in darts. What is known as bed and breakfast? What score is known as bed and breakfast in darts? But yeah, okay. So the final round this week, as I say, in last week we dedicated, or I tried to dedicate the final round to the NHS and all the wonderful workers there. And I decided to try and make a bit of a habit of that as long as this goes on. If you want it to still go on, of course, I don't blame you if you don't. But we're looking at another 3 weeks of being stuck in. So, yeah, so this week, final round, I decided to dedicate to all of those wonderful people, and I know this will go down well with quite a lot, of all those people that are working in education. We're still open. We've been open all the way through the holidays. The children of key workers have been coming to school, and we've been doing our best to look after them as much as we can. So this week's round is dedicated to education, and so is based on the such. So, question 1. Who is the current Education Secretary? That's question 1 again. Who is the current Education Secretary? And question 2. What year were GCSEs first sat in England? Question 2 again. What year were GCSEs first sat in England? And question 3. Former teacher Candice Brown won the 2016 Great British Bake Off, but which subject did she teach? That's question 3. Former teacher Candice Brown won the 2016 Great British Bake Off, but which subject did she teach? And question 4. According to the government's 2019 Schools, Pupils and Their Characteristics publication, how many children in England are in school education? Is it 7.8 million, 8.8 million, or 9.8 million? Who doesn't have a multiple choice? So according to the government's 2019 Schools, Pupils and Their Characteristics publication. How many children in England are in school education? 7.8 million, 8.8 million, or 9.8 million? And question 5. What is the full title that Ofsted stands for? So we've all heard of Ofsted, but what does Ofsted stand for? And question 6. Which former Prime Minister stated his 3 main objectives were education, education, education? That's question 6. Which former Prime Minister stated his 3 objectives were education, education, education? And question 7. Which former teacher left school to go walking on the moon? So, which former teacher left school to go walking on the moon? And question 8. Which private college do the royal family traditionally attend? Which private college do the royal family traditionally attend? And question 9. Any good quiz about education wouldn't be fit without a spelling test. So, could you spell for me, please, minuscule? As in something very small, minuscule. That's question 9. Spell for me minuscule. And finally, question 10. And if you were watching last week, you may have an idea of what this one's going to be, and you feel free to post it in the chat or anywhere else you wish. But what do we need to say to all the teachers, TAs, office staff, cleaners, midday supervisors, cooks, and everyone else that's been keeping school open all the way through the holidays and ever since to look after key worker children in this quite bizarre time? I don't think you need me to repeat question 10. I think you know the answer to that one. I shall give you a minute and then we will go through the answers to all the rest of the sport, that round, and the picture round. Okay, cool. So if you're ready, we will go through the sports round answers. So, which English rugby union side plays its games at Welford Road? That is the Leicester Tigers. That's number one in the sports round. The answer is Leicester Tigers. Number two, the Queen Anne Stakes is a traditional first race of the opening of which horse racing meet? It is Royal Ascot. Question three. The amount of players on the field for one team in a baseball team is 9. 9 players on the field at any one time for a baseball team. Which country has won the most Davis Cups since 2000? It's Spain. Spain have won the most Davis Cups. The 2004 Summer Olympics were held in Athens. Question 6. In which sport might you win the claret jug? That would be golf. And question 7. Which motor racing circuit hosted 12 British Grand Prix between 1964 and 1986? That's local Brands Hatch. And Jose Mourinho managed Porto when he won his first Champions League final. In darts, the score known as bed and breakfast is 26. It comes from the old saying 2 and 6, which was the value of a room for most B&Bs at the time, 2 and 6, 26. And question 10, the Duckworth-Lewis-Stern method. Now, it's used obviously in cricket, but it's used to work out the chasing score for the team batting second in cricket when the game has been affected by rain. So I think it's up to you, as I say, how you mark it, but I think you need to say that it's working out a score for a team when the match has been affected by rain, at least. I would have said something along those lines would give you a point. Okay, give you a second to tot those up, and then we will go on to the education round. So the education round. The current education secretary, providing he's not been sacked in the last few hours and I haven't heard about it, but who knows, but that is Gavin Williamson. And what year, question 2, was the GCSE first sat in England? Was 1988. Question 3. Question 3. Former teacher Candice Brown won the 2016 Great British Bake Off, but she used to be a PE teacher. And question 4, according to the government publication, there are 8.8 million children in education currently, or in 2019 there were. Question 5. What is the full title that Ofsted stands for? It's the Office for Standards in Education, Children's Services and Skills. So that's the Office for Standards in Education, Children's Services and Skills is what Ofsted means. Question 6. The Prime Minister, who said his 3 main objectives were education, 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 was Tony Blair. And question 7. The former teacher who left to go walking on the moon was Sting. Question 8. Which private college do the royal family traditionally attend? Of course, it's Eton. Lovely. And question 9, the spelling round. How do you spell minuscule? It's MINUSCULE. Anyone who knows me well will know the irony of me doing a spelling question, but there we go. So that was MINUSCULE for minuscule. And of course, a few people put it in the comments at the chat. The final question, question 10, we need to say a massive thank you to everyone, even though maybe I'm one of them, but I'll ignore that. So, we will go on to the picture round. Hopefully you've all managed to do okay with that. I know there was a few tricky ones in there. They weren't perhaps the most traditional poster for them, but you may well have worked it out that they were one of the official posters, some of the original posters or such like. So, picture number 1, that film was Alien. And picture number 2, that was Apocalypse Now. Picture 3 was Beetlejuice. Picture 4 was Dirty Harry. Picture 5 was Enter the Dragon. Number 6 was The Exorcist. Number 7 was The Goonies. Number 8 was The Grand Budapest Hotel. Number 9 was Gremlins. Number 10 was Incredulous Bastards. Number 11 was Labyrinth. Number 12 was Last Action Hero. Number 13 was Leon. Number 14 was Mad Max. Officially it was Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, but I'll take Mad Max. Number 15 was Never Ending Story. Number 16 was Raging Bull. Number 17 was Gladiator. Number 18 was Lethal Weapon. Number 19 was Free Willy. And number 20 was Pulp Fiction. So there it is. Week 4 done of this crazy world. Hope you did all right. Hope you enjoyed it. Post your scores if you like. Obviously, everyone got whatever it is, 80 out of 80, I'm sure. But yeah, I'll start writing another one this weekend. If you want me to do it, then I will do. If not, well, you don't have to tune in, do you? I'll just be here talking to myself, which wouldn't be anything new. Hopefully, hope you've had a good night. Hope everyone's safe and well. And yeah, I'll stay on the chat for 5 minutes and say hello, and then I will see you all again next week. If not, take care, everyone. Bye.